So my name is Elijah Kipsang, and you all know me as a mindful guy, right? Last year when I spoke about self-awareness, we had an introduction by doing a mindful activity, which was meditation. I'm not sure if some of us practiced this through the year. Was there anyone who tried something nice? Anyone else?
I remember you said, I'm not the mind, I'm not...
Yeah. So, me standing here right now, a lot of things are coming up. And I'd like to ground us by doing a mindful activity. It may take us some few minutes, but I hope it's going to take us to the present moment. I understand that there are two things that people would grapple with in life, the past and the future. And it tends to affect how you view the present. So before we do that, we talk of confidence elevates. How would you define confidence as an individual? Anyone? Come on, anyone. Yeah, Shadow.
The ability to express yourself with courage, boldness, without fear.
Anyone else? Nice. Okay. So this is my definition of confidence. And I borrowed it from Terry Real. I'm not sure if you people know someone called Terry Real. I don't think so. Okay. Confidence is seeing yourself as a flawed person, but you still hold yourself in high regard. Yeah. So try and do that in your life. Yeah, because as we've heard from HLI, so many people want to gravitate towards success and happiness. And these things doesn't determine your worth. They don't. They're just short-term things. So I'd like us to do a mindful activity for some few minutes. For those who are holding stuff on their hands, please put them down.
Put your cell phones down.
Put them down. Yeah. So just take a moment to sit and feel yourself in your body and close your eyes if you feel comfortable doing that. You can close your eyes. And just consider all the energy it took for you to be here right now. Think about when you first heard about this conference and all it took for you to be here. All the arrangements you had to make, the financial part, the travel, and also in getting into this room. Just see how all these things lands on your body. And now I ask you to expand your listening as far as you can and notice any obstacle you have to listening. And remember, in the morning we had said that listening includes listening to your feelings, emotions, thoughts, your body language. And also notice how you are distracted. Maybe by the things you have to do later. Maybe you have some bodily discomfort. Maybe you have some judgment of what I'm saying right now. Just notice the obstacles. All these things are in the ball of listening. And so in a few minutes, in a few moments, I'm going to ask you to open your eyes. So open your eyes. And look out to this moment now in mystery. You may still have some obstacles, but just notice them. So now take a moment, take a minute, or maybe 10 seconds. And turn to the person next to you. Let them know what came up. What is now shaping your listening? What is shaping your listening?
What's the teacher Anything meaningful? Are you done? I hope everyone has gotten an opportunity to share. No? Okay, 10 more seconds. Yeah, I think now we are done. So I'm known for not keeping time, and I'm trying my best. So let us now get back to our things. So with that activity, my aim was to help us. I wanted to give everyone here an opportunity to practice listening. I hope this was, my wish was that this was to be done in the morning, but because we listen to speakers, when you look at someone, you're going to listen to their body language. And sometimes you may be distracted because of what you are experiencing. I'm known for going too deep, but as Africans, we are not atujezoea, but we are going to work on that. So for everyone who is going to share something today, I invite all the participants to practice listening. If something comes up, just notice it, but don't personalize it. Don't let it determine your present moment. Yeah. So my name is Elijah. I have some accolades, but sometimes I don't like
identifying with them because hizi ni vitu za dunia. And maybe to mention a few, I am an ESG research analyst at Minerva Analytics Limited. It's a UK-based company. I know a few of us have heard the word ESG research. Yeah, I'm gonna leave it there. I am also a licensed psychologist by the Kenya Counseling and Psychology Association. I also practice. I also have a private practice, and my major focus is in trauma, grief, self-awareness, personal development, relationship, and friendships. You will notice that some of these things are really a huge determinant of our lives, but we tend to ignore them and chase superficiality. So I hope today is going to maybe intrigue you into either starting to focus on what is really important, or if you're already in this journey, you are going to be motivated to continue. Yeah, I'm also the HOD of Psychology and Wellness Department of Confidence Elevates, NAS SEMI. So yeah, in the next maybe 30 or 20 minutes, we are going to look at what has been presented there. You will notice that my PowerPoint, si kama wale tu wengine. And the likes of Brahma, Peter. I think I'm gonna take a class with Nobel to try and upgrade my pitch and presentation skills. Yeah. So we're going to look at what is mental health, what is mental illness and its causes, what is mental wellness, some of the categories of mental health conditions, and the relationship between trauma and mental health conditions. What I'm going to share today is basically based on my experience as a psychologist and also as an individual who has suffered a mental illness. So I'm not going to just base my talk on the literature that has been published. So I want to do a brief assessment of the state of mental health in this room. I know presenting will just give you an intro of what is yet to happen, but just be honest, just be honest. Just be honest. But the show of hands, how many of us know that in the past 2 months, May and June, were mental health awareness months? Okay. Quite a few. Sijana wanaume maybe. Sheldrick, okay. And imagine there was your month. I don't know if you practiced something that will tend to improve your mental health throughout the month. I'm not sure, you just recognized it. Ukapost kwa status. I don't know. So my main goal today is to create awareness on what mental health, illness and wellness entails. And also maybe mention some interventions to mental illness through lived stories, and also from myself and also maybe from the audience. Okay. I've pressed on end. Okay. Yeah, what is mental health? Mental health is the state of emotional, psychological, social, and spiritual well-being. And this is something that is widely misunderstood and yet mostly experienced by almost everyone. It's the statistics says that in every 3 people experience 1 or 2 mental health conditions. Notice I'm not saying mental health illness, because the word mental illness has a type of stigma related to it. Because when someone says I'm suffering mentally or I have a mental disease, in a way they are stigmatized. So it's better to use mental health conditions. So throughout my experience in my private practice and also through my self-improvement journey, I was able to come up with 2 categories of mental health conditions, which is situational and also psychological. We have psychological issues and we also have situational issues. And psychological issues tend to relate to our mental. And when we say mental, we talk about emotions, cognitions, behaviors, feelings, and every other thing that relates to our mental health, to our mind. You may not agree that, or you may not hear so many clinicians saying that most mental illnesses, when we talk about depression, bipolar, schizophrenia, all of them, they may not talk about how it originates. Something that they focus on is the symptoms. And when you focus on the symptoms, you will only treat the symptoms, but you will not treat the underlying issue. Because in therapy, we usually have two things. We have the presenting problem, and we also have the underlying issue, which is mostly 1 or 2. But the presenting problem, which is usually a couple of symptoms, is something that most clinicians will always treat, instead of going deep and knowing where did this anxiety issue started originating from. And to me, in my experience, mental health conditions originates from childhood experiences and self-suppression, which originates as a coping mechanism. Sijui kama mnaelewa hizi words, I don't know. But we are going to maybe put them into perspective in one way or another, maybe through questions and also maybe in sharing your experiences. There's something that we say in our field, that adaptive now, maladaptive then. Something that was adaptive when you were a child, because of what you're experiencing in your childhood environment, is going to be maladaptive once you're an adult. Because these things that were stressing you as a child are now no longer there, and your body cannot say that you are no longer now a child, now behave as an adult. It cannot, because it has been conditioned that way for a couple of years. Now you will start experiencing problems, which we will term them as mental health conditions. As I continue speaking, something may come up. I'll still say, just notice it and let it go. Do not identify with it. Because if you identify, it will create a boundary. You may not continue. So when we speak about childhood experiences, I mean childhood trauma. And I know there are parents here. I'm not throwing any shade on you. I'm just sharing my experience and what I've known to either work or not. And self-suppression is the loss of authenticity. There's this word authenticity and genuineness. which we tend to throw it around. I'm authentic, but you don't know what that means. Being authentic is being in touch with what we feel. Not emotions, but wait. Feelings precedes emotions. An emotion will come, then you're going to feel something. Authenticity comes from the Greek word auto, which means the self. So to be authentic is to be connected to ourselves. Connect yourself to what you feel. And sometimes it may not be true. And we all know that every feeling that you feel, you don't have to act on it. Just look at your feelings and emotions as facts or information. It's trying to tell you something about yourself. And try to investigate that before you behave in a certain way or you take an action. Most of my research is from some of the known clinicians in the mental health field, and some of them you're going to hear about them. I already mentioned Terry Real. So we have two types of trauma, and this is borrowed from Gabo Mate. I'm not sure if any of you know Gabo Mate. Yeah, Gabo Mate says there are two types of trauma. We have when bad things happen to us, and also when good things doesn't happen to us as children. We know there's a clinician called Bessel van der Kolk. He has written a book called When the Body Keeps the Score. And this book basically talks about how trauma really affects our lives. And he has defined trauma as when we are not seen or known. Sometimes when someone is hurting, they just want the person who took them through this art to recognize it and say, yes, I did the following things and I'm sorry. But sometimes you will notice that either one, there's a reason as to why this person is not able to do this. Either because maybe they are already gone, or they are not in a space whereby they can be able to relate with you from where you are coming from. So this could be something that you will have to give yourself as an individual. Impacts of trauma, as Peter Levine writes, impacts of trauma is loss of connection to the self. Last year we saw that we have three types of self. Let me see if I can remember. Okay, we have the ideal. Okay, I can't remember them, but we usually want to gravitate towards the ideal self. But also we also have the self that is you right now, that maybe grapples with a couple of things. So once you experience a certain trauma, a certain form of trauma either as a child or maybe as you grow up, you will lose connection to yourself. And when you lose connection to yourself, you will no longer learn or you will no longer grow emotionally. So you become emotionally mature. And you will be put in situations where emotional maturity is needed. But all you may do is either, we have three responses to stress: flight, fight, or freeze. Most people do freeze.
And when you freeze, it basically means that you are not able to learn how to deal with your emotions. When someone loses their connection to self because of something that happened to them, they sustain a wound, an emotional wound. And you will notice that there are two things that can happen. It can either, the wound can either remain raw, which basically usually happens, or it can be replaced by a thick layer of scar tissue. And something that's not going to wait for it is a trigger. And in which environment will you never expect triggers? Someone will tell you your attire even doesn't look good. Anything. In town, you may get any sort of insults from anyone. So any form of trigger. And also you will notice in our personal relationships, which I'm talking about, the relationships in our families and also with our friends and more so with our partners, this is a place where you are easily triggered because there the stakes are too high. You've invested a lot of emotions. And you notice once you are triggered, you will just ignore and also withdraw. There's something that has always stood out with me with trauma. That is, we remain the age that we were at the most. Situational issues basically are stress-inducing situations. And it could be anything, loss of a loved one, financial problems. This is something that it's mostly experienced. And someone will easily say, I'm depressed because I don't have money. It's not. It's not. So some of the coping mechanisms that works and I've seen work is having a support system. A friend of mine once told me I was loved out of depression. Also having a sense of control, attitude, a positive attitude. Knowledge, information is really important. What is mental wellness? Mental wellness is the practices that you practice so that you'll be able to maintain your mental health. I think you've read those. I was going to invite us to maybe share something, but due to time, we may not. But maybe since Achalai was given 3 hours,
Go for it.
I can say something about myself. My self-awareness journey, I'm Mr. Self-Awareness in CE. My self-awareness journey started in 2018. I think I was in second year or third year. And that's when I noticed I've not been myself for a couple of years. Betty will tell you, anyone that knows me will tell you that I avoid a lot of situations that trigger my anxiety. And now, yes, anxiety came in, but I've grown, and that will mean there's a lot of things that I've done, a lot of work that I've done, and it took a lot of courage. Being this vulnerable is not something that I've been doing. It's not. Even to my friends will easily say that I never talk about myself. It's true because I like listening. And as a psychologist, I'm able to join in the dots when someone is telling me about their issues. Either because maybe there's some wisdom that I have, or maybe I've gone through something, or maybe things that I've read, but I've never given myself that avenue for healing. I didn't, but in the past couple of years I decided that I am also worthy of this. And it took a lot. So something you will notice, for a couple of years I've always known that there was something wrong with me. And but once I started this journey, there was a shift. From me saying there was something wrong with me to something happened to me. And this was influenced by me reading a book by Bruce Berry and Oprah Winfrey that is called What Happened to You. It talks about trauma, resilience, and healing. And once I changed my view on how the things that happened to me is now shaping my present moment, I was able to invite my own listening. And you will notice that when you're trying to go through your journey of healing, there's a level of compassion that you have to bring through that journey. Because things that will come up are not that comfortable. And as nature dictates that if something is not comfortable, you will just sweep it under the rug. But compassion will help you to grow out of it. Yeah, I noticed I would easily have compassion to my friends, but compassion for the self was something that I struggled with. I'm yet to figure that out. But also as a psychologist, I was able to. It was easy for me to find ways to deal with these things, because in a way I had a good background, and also I had good resources through research. Once you start this journey, you'll be able to. Once you read this book, you'll notice this researcher has quoted this other researcher. And you will continue like that until you find what you want. Waiting will never work. So some of my two main goals of therapy has been awareness and the emotional labor. I've done quite a bit of self-awareness. Now I am on the emotional labor side, where now I'm dealing with the emotions, with everything that comes up. Because our ultimate goal should always be for you to be in the present. We know there is the future and the past. If you're only in the future, those things that you want to achieve, all those things, or ruminating about what happened in the past, then you may not be able to experience life as it is. I've been surviving, but I now choose to live.
Wow.
I can see Betty is telling me 1 minute, but no.
We kicked out. We have time.
Okay, just.
There's a web kick as well.
Okay, maybe.
I think we need next time to give you a whole 2 hours.
Maybe let us do take away, and also. Yeah, so something that I really wanted to share. Yeah, I noticed being the last speaker, you'll be able to listen to everyone talk, and someone may say I was just there seated writing what Mike talked about. But Daniel Goleman, the person who wrote Emotional Intelligence, his work on achieving emotional intelligence was also a huge help in me and also to my clients. We have self-awareness, self-management, empathy. He spoke about the 3 types of empathy. And also we have social skills. Your ultimate goal is being able to relate with everyone in a way that you don't fear hurting them, because if you hurt someone, they will speak. But for someone who has not achieved healing, you will be hurt and you will keep quiet. There's also the power of saying no, which is so good, because you can always say yes to anything, but saying no is something that you may struggle doing. Something that really stood out again for me is responsibility. And I define responsibility as being responsible. Responsible. Think about that. Something else is befriending the fear. We've spoken about compassion, where A.H. Elmer says, only when compassion is present will we be able to allow ourselves to see the truth. Yeah, maybe our takeaway. So our takeaway is that as long as you don't allow the fear, sadness, anxiety, anything that comes up or anything that you are struggling with, as long as you don't allow it to be there, and you will always work to get rid of it. There's an activity, push. The more you push, the more it pushes. So befriend it. You have a huge body. You can be able to you have a huge space. Allow them to be part of you and look at them from a point of information. Yeah, that's it for me. I'm sure next year we'll also have some other things. We've done a lot of things also in CE, our mental wellness check-ins, our assignments, a huge resemblance of what has been done today. Yeah, thank you. Maybe, I don't know if someone has a question, but